Draft Resolution L69 is adopted.
The resolution, driven by the 54-member African group, sets the stage for critical intergovernmental talks expected to begin in earnest next year and could give developing countries a much larger say in shaping international tax rules.
The draft resolutions is a historic opportunity for government, especially developing countries, to assess the much-needed resources to respond to the crisis well paced towards the achievement of sustainable development. Domestic public resource mobilization is critical to this effort. We use these resources to deliver critical public service and advance our progress towards sustainable development. African political leadership is resolute in its desire to enhance domestic resource mobilizations.
The resolution decides to begin intergovernmental discussions in New York on ways to strengthen effective international tax cooperation, requests the Secretary-General to prepare a report analyzing all relevant international legal instruments that already address tax cooperation, while recognizing that combating illicit financial flows is an essential development challenge.
Such an effort at the United Nations will finally realize principles stated in the Addis Ababa Agenda adopted in 2015, that tax cooperation should be universal. The United Nations Secretary General report also highlighted the lack of inclusivity of the substantive instrument and forum in relation to the international tax and transparency. Therefore, a UN tax instrument will be predisposed to setting ambitious global standards and creating the mechanism for transparency and accountability to deliver an illicit financial flow target and to establish a globally inclusive intergovernmental tax body under the auspices of the United Nations.
South Africa indicated that support for the resolution was support for greater global equity.
By supporting the adoption of the resolution before us, member states are indicating their support for an equitable and just world and expressing support for the right to development for all states. A UN tax convention will set global standards and create the mechanism for transparency and accountability to address illicit financial flows and corporate tax abuse, amongst others. The UN is the most appropriate venue for this discussion due to its universal membership and all-inclusive character.
Developed countries in the main raised concern that this new process could be duplicative of work already done by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
We disagree with the notion implied by this resolution that there is not presently a highly inclusive forum working to strengthen international cooperation on tax. Rather, OP2 proposes a process that will tear down much of the progress that has been made in international tax cooperation since the 2008 to 2009 financial crisis and will undermine the inclusive framework at the OECD, through which so much progress is being made.
The General Assembly's decision also supported by former President Thabo Mbeki, who leads the AU's high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa. The panel's latest report emphasized the fact that the African continent was losing more than $50 billion annually through illicit financial outflows and urged the world to effectively confront what Mbeki refers to as a global challenge. In a statement last week, he said he fully supported the creation of a globally inclusive intergovernmental process and urged international organizations and member states to resist attempts to block this important step forward. Sherman Bryceby's SABC News, New York.